The cursed pumpkin, the mystery that should never be revealed. Imagine being in a deserted field at midnight, surrounded only by the whisper of the wind and the dim glow of the moon. The smell of damp earth mixes with the rotten scent of something that shouldn't be there. A shiver runs down your spine when you realize you're not alone. Something, or someone, is watching you in the dark. But what if that something was right beneath your feet, just waiting for the right moment to awaken? This is the story of Samantha Hayes, a famous investigative journalist from New York who unknowingly sealed her fate by agreeing to uncover the mystery of an abandoned farm. What began as an urban legend soon turned into a real nightmare. Samantha had always been skeptical. Her work as an award-winning journalist made her disbelieve myths and legends. However, when a mysterious and anonymous email arrived in her inbox, something caught her attention. The subject was simple: the cursed pumpkin. Do not investigate. Intrigued, she ignored the warning. The message spoke of an old farm in Salem, where a farmer had grown a giant pumpkin that should never have existed. Some said he watered it with blood. Others claimed the pumpkin whispered at night. But what made Samantha accept the investigation was a disturbing detail. Everyone who tried to tell the story disappeared. Determined to prove it was just a local tale, Samantha took her car and drove to the forgotten farm. But when she arrived, she realized the truth was far worse than any legend. The farm was a place forgotten by time. The iron gate creaked as if whispering a warning. The moss-covered barn looked like an open tomb. In the center of the field, a colossal pumpkin grew, its orange so dark it seemed rotten. Samantha was not alone. Her team included Mike, a fearless cameraman, and Rachel, a paranormal folklore expert. They were there to film a documentary. But upon entering the farm, each felt something different. A heaviness in the air, the smell of burnt flesh, a cold that made no sense on that humid night. Then Samantha noticed something strange on the ground. Footprints. Too small for an adult, too large for an animal. They led straight to the pumpkin. And that was when everything started to go wrong. Mike turned on the camera. Rachel began narrating the story for the documentary. But the moment Samantha touched the pumpkin's rough skin, a sound echoed across the field, a muffled cry, as if something was trapped inside it. Rachel stepped back. "This isn't normal," she whispered. But Samantha, ever the skeptic, took out a pocket knife and cut a small piece of the pumpkin. It was the worst decision of her life. A thick, dark liquid oozed from the cut. The smell of iron and decay was unbearable. The muffled cry turned into a piercing scream. And then, something moved inside the pumpkin. Mike screamed and dropped the camera. Rachel fell backward, eyes wide with terror. Samantha's heart pounded. Something alive was inside that thing. Something that should never be set free. The farm lights flickered. The wind grew stronger. The ground trembled beneath their feet. And then, the pumpkin began to open on its own, as if something was being born from within. What emerged was indescribable. Something skeletal, covered in rotting skin, with empty eyes and a mouth sewn shut with thorns. It shouldn't exist. But it did. Mike tried to run, but the creature moved fast. Far faster than something its size should. With one swift motion, it dragged Mike into the pumpkin. His scream was swallowed by darkness. Rachel tried to flee but tripped. Samantha, in shock, could only watch. And then, something whispered in her ear. "Now, you belong to me." Samantha and Rachel ran to the car. But the road back to town was gone. It was as if the farm was trapped in another time. The only thing they could do was return to the main house. But when they entered, they realized they weren't alone. Old photos covered the walls, showing the same missing people who had tried to investigate the legend before them. And in the center of the room, a rocking chair creaked on its own, as if someone invisible was there. Then they saw a diary, covered in dust and dried blood. Samantha opened it and read the last entry. "If you're reading this, it's already too late. He has chosen you." The doors of the house slammed shut. The stench of decay grew stronger. Rachel clutched Samantha's arm. "This isn't a normal spirit," she whispered. The whispering voice returned. "I always need new bodies." Samantha's eyes burned. Her body grew heavy. Something was trying to pull her into the pumpkin. Rachel screamed and threw a ring of salt around Samantha. It bought her time to react. But the creature was getting closer. The pumpkin, now with eyes and a sewn mouth, began to writhe as if trying to spit something out. Then Samantha realized Mike was still alive. She heard his weak voice calling for help from inside the pumpkin. With a knife, Samantha cut the vines that held him. But the creature lunged, its rotten claws reaching out. The only way out was to burn everything. Rachel struck a match and tossed it. Flames consumed the farm. The creature screamed. Samantha and Rachel ran until they could no longer see the fire. When they finally stopped, they saw something horrifying. The road back had returned, but the farm remained untouched, as if it had never burned. Samantha returned to New York. But something was different. In the mirror, she sometimes saw shadows behind her. And at night, she heard a familiar whisper. "Now, you belong to me." If you like the story, subscribe to the channel and share. But be careful. Some legends never die.
Have you ever experienced something supernatural, terrifying, or unexplainable? Your story can come to life and be told here. I want to hear your darkest, most chilling and mysterious tale. Leave everyone curious, shivering, and questioning what really happened. Share your scariest experiences and moments of pure terror. Join our dark community. This is the place for you. Subscribe to the channel now and share your horror story. Tag your bravest friends and send your story now. Fear is real. And I'm waiting for you.